What's up, y'all? In this episode of Never Ending Drum Kit, I'm going to show you how to make this 808. Here it is in a beat for context, and it comes in at this point right here. So here we go. Okay, and if you want to see how I made that whole beat, the entire thing with all the other parts, that's in another video. It's going to be some kind of a Hyperpop tutorial. I might put it in the description. But yeah, I'm just going to be showing the 808. Okay, and so the 808 by itself is going to sound like this. Yeah, so you get the idea. Yeah, so first thing I'm going to do, I have the first oscillator on analog sine. That's in the analog folder of wavetables. And the wavetable position is all the way to the right. That gives it a little bit of the old, let me turn that up a little bit. A little bit of, right, that's to the left. To the right just gives it more harmonics. And then I have it pitched down 2 octaves. LFO 1 is on the master tuning. It's unipolar. The arrow is only pointing to the right, and it's set to 45. And then LFO 1 also has envelope mode turned on, so it only runs when the note is triggered. And then it's turned up, the rate is turned up to 1/8. Let me see. The amplitude is modulated by default by envelope 1 in Serum. And yeah, from there I think we'll do Oscillator B. And Oscillator B is phased Reverb, which is in the spectral category. The first thing that's important with this, and let me pull my vector scope down here so you can see. This second oscillator is actually unison is turned up to 2, and the detuning is kind of a little bit higher. And then the wavetable is all the way to the right again. And I have amp modulation on our warp mode, and that's turned up also to 45. Lastly, I have this knob here. It's a macro, which just controls, is this oscillator running or not, you know? Yeah, and it sounds pretty bad, but in context it sounds good. So that kind of gives you a, do I want my sub to have any kind of this this top note type deal? And it sounds bad, but we're gonna fix that. So the next thing is we'll get our last noise source going. So we have noise on this, and it's turned to art pink. The level's on 50%. The pitch tracking is on, and the pitch is turned up to 38 semitones or whatever. What is that, semitone? It doesn't matter. Just turn it up to 38, whatever it's called. And then lastly, yeah, do we have any other modulations? No. Oh, let me go over the envelopes real quick. So envelope 1, just to show you, it's on 1.52 seconds, so it's pretty long. And then the sustain is all the way down, and the release is actually turned up to 205, so it'll ring out after the note ends a little bit. Next thing, filter. It's on MG low 18, this one here. Cutoff is at 407. Resonance at 25. And I just kind of, you know, the funny thing is I like to do these tutorials live. That way you can see the process of how I'm like listening to the sound and making it. But I don't think people, you know, I don't know how much people like that because it ends up with longer videos. So I'm going to try this time and we'll see if it gets any better results. The drive is turned up to 100%. No fatness, the pan's on right in the middle, and the mix is all the way up. Then the last thing is, Oscillator B is not routed through this, so I'll turn the electrode down a little bit. And it's bypassing the filter. So I'm going to turn it back up, and then this is where we'll kind of start sculpting it. I have the distortion on. Hopefully this isn't too loud. And it's way too loud, but that's okay. It's on asymmetrical, drives at 80, mixes at 80. Then I have some chorus on. And I remember when I was learning, or anytime I watch tutorials early on, people would be like, you can't have stereo in your sub range. There's like club systems can't handle it, like it'll wash out your whole thing, it's illegal, the cops will, the feds will come to your house and beat the shit out of you. Like, dude, it's the funny thing is when I go and reference a lot of tracks, or when I, you know, anytime I'm like checking out a new track, that's the first thing that I check is the sub mono? And it's like 50-50. On dubstep, it's pretty common that it's mono. But like other people's music, you know, other genres of stuff like hyperpop and all that, people don't give a fuck, and it makes a cool result. So like don't feel like you have to have your sub monoed. I actually think this one sounds cool with that width. That's, you see how the sides are pushed out here. And then I also have reverb on it, but the reverb is controlled by this floor rot knob. So we'll keep it moving. The next thing I have is a destructor. And I believe this doesn't do too much, but just boost the gain. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Yeah, and as you can hear and see, it's making it louder. And if I turn the wetness all the way up, I think that this is going to... Yeah, it's just boosting the gain. You can use Destructor to do the little erosion type effect from Ableton where it gives it the... Let me just show you real quick since I have time in this video. It's not going to be super long. You can use erosion. Turn this down. You can use erosion. You can use abrasive to do that effect by bringing the threshold down or pushing the preamp up, and then you just have to fade the dry wet and kind of get it set. And you can also put a filter on it to where there's this noise bandpass does something, right? And you know, sometimes it's best to like just have it barely push above, and other times you can get away with just slamming it through there, right? And so then I pull this dry wet down, and we have another layer of crispiness. But for this particular instance, I don't do that. I just use it to boost gain, and I probably did that on accident, but that's how it panned out. So that's what you get. Then lastly, we have Pro Q3, just any EQ will work. And as you can see here, we are not mono, you guys and girls. You see, there's no fucking... See, I wish I hadn't listened to all those people that said that, but you know, you learn things, you live and you learn. I think with this though, the only thing that I'll continue with and show is... Yeah, is you can actually use the electrode knob to kind of mix how much width you want. Fully mono. Then that gives it some width on it. And then the last thing is this floor rot knob, which what does this do? It makes it even less mono. Right, and I think that this tends to work better. Right, if you're going to use the floor rot knob, you probably don't want to have... Well, let me get rid of it differently. You don't want notes that bleed into each other like that, where it's just doom, 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 because the tails run into each other. But if you had like a... That can have this cool effect on it. Just for posterity's sake. And if I was going to use floor rot, I would also probably change this to a high shelf and just cut most of it out. Right, so that's something that you can do with it. I don't know if that's even useful to show you, but what I will do is show the reverb. And all this reverb is... Right, you can hear it has a nice little effect. It's just a short little reverb where the highs are completely cut out of it and the spin is, you know, cut down to where it's not so wishy-washy. But yeah, with that, that's really all for this one. I just wanted to show this because it would be a nice quick tutorial, and I'm going to go ahead and render this. Yeah, and so there you have it. This is what we ended up with, our final drum. So I'll save that into the kit. And upload it. And then if you wanted to see how I made the rest of the beat that was on the very beginning of this video, you can check out that video. It's in the description. And yeah, I hope y'all have a good one. I hope you learned something. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.